Last night I was reading some stuff written by a guy that's working for ICE and just kind of wanted to share what it was like inside of there. And he is in administration stuff. He couldn't give too much information or they'd know who he was. But just to say that he is basically hanging on mentally for dear life, and that they cannot go get psychological help because they would have all of their credentials pulled. And you know, people were saying, like, why don't you leave? And he said, well, I grew up extremely poor and I don't want my family living that way. Like, I make a good living. He makes about $120,000 a year. He lives in a lower cost area. He said I'd end up with $1 million like once I'm out of there, which is pretty good, that I'd be relatively young. But he said that the work environment is very hostile. It's very mafia run. And he said he was started there with Biden and has gone over and is now with Trump. But he said he always felt like the vibe was pretty rough. He said we all go through the same training and then they pick the ones they want out in the field because they have a particular personality type. And he says, and when I say they don't care if they line them all up and shoot them, I'm not kidding. He says, so I'm really quick to make sure their paperwork's ready so that they can go to court or be released, because they'll leave them in there forever. And he says, but you know, some of these guys are married to detainees, and most of them are immigrants themselves that run ICE. So he's like, it's a very strange world, but it's a very hostile world. And he's like, you know, if you work there long and you think you're going to leave, they've let you know they're going to make sure you don't get a job. He says, police don't want to hire us because police don't like ICE, but also you go somewhere else that has like those kind of skills, and then they might think ICE is great and say, what are you doing here? And they can't pay enough. So he's like, and in some states that hate ICE, I couldn't get a job there, so I just feel very trapped here. And he's like, I'm just trying to bide my time. And he said, and a lot of what's hard is the abuse that goes on there. There's no accountability for it. He's like, the abuse that goes on that he sees that happens to these people, he's like, well, these people will never be held account in any kind of court. He said, because a lot of things they're doing are legal. It's just they're being, you know, abusive to where the point, like, he's like, yeah, there might be a lot of lawsuits at some point. He's like, but I don't imagine anyone going to jail, and they all believe that, and that is why they're acting the way they're acting. They're just getting more aggressive because unless the people stop them, they don't have any reason to feel like they have to. He says they don't even get any information on the people or the targets. They're just sent out. So, like I said, he's in administration, but he still sees the videos, the footage, and thinks it's awful, but he also just feels completely trapped in there. He's like, I have not seen any of this $50,000 bonus that Kristi Noem was talking about. He's like, I don't participate, or we think that the quotas are a joke. He's like, but yeah, no, it's hard to even stay alive knowing, you know, what they're doing to these families. And he's like, and it's also weird because it's immigrants that in there that are fine with doing it. So he's like, it's really messed up. And he's like, and like, I would have no one to trust in here. Like, I don't feel like I can have a one-on-one with somebody, like a confidential conversation. If I question anything or have any concerns, I would not feel safe to do that. So that's what it's like in ICE if you want to join. So yeah, I mean, I guess he'll retire okay. He just doesn't sound like he'll have any mental health left. He just said, I just was so dirt poor. I just don't want my family to go through that again. And I didn't think it was going to be like this when I signed up for it. I had no idea. But also, when he signed up with Biden, I don't think it, you know, we know that it wasn't at this level. You know, it may have been not great in the administration part of it, but in the field, it's so brutal right now. And he's just like, they're not nice men, and they are absolutely happy to hurt people. And he's like, I'm just trying to buy my time, whether I can live through this or like not unalive myself and just live long enough to get out, or till there's a new administration that comes around, because he loves Trump, Homan, all of them. But he's like, I just don't have anyone to talk to in here because I don't know what would happen to me. So that's what it's like inside of ICE right now.